I'd always considered myself lucky. Not lottery-winning lucky, but small things lucky. Lucky that the creepy guy who followed me from the subway 3 months ago suddenly moved to a different city. Lucky that my ex-boyfriend who'd been sending threatening texts abruptly stopped. Lucky that the aggressive patient who'd grabbed me at the hospital quit showing up for appointments. Just lucky. "You have the best luck," Rachel said during our break in the ER staff room. We'd just finished a brutal 12-hour shift and I was too tired to do anything but nod. "Seriously, Claire, remember that guy who was harassing you outside your building? The super creepy one who knew your schedule? He moved. His landlord said he got a job in Seattle. Overnight? Without packing? That's not moving, that's fleeing." She studied me over her coffee. "Don't you think it's weird? Every time someone bothers you, they just disappear? I prefer to think the universe is looking out for me." "The universe or someone else?" She waggled her eyebrows. "Maybe you have a secret admirer, a guardian angel type. I work in an emergency room and live in a 4th-floor walk-up in Brooklyn. If I have a guardian angel, they have terrible taste in assignments." But her words stuck with me as I walked home that morning. It was true. I'd had an unusual string of good fortune over the past couple years. Problems that should have escalated just didn't. Threats that should have materialized simply vanished. The ex-boyfriend who'd started showing up at my apartment building suddenly stopped, claiming his parole officer had relocated him. The coworker who'd been making inappropriate comments got transferred to a different hospital. Even the guy who'd tried to mug me in the subway had apparently been arrested the same night for an unrelated crime. Lucky. That's all it was. I climbed the stairs to my apartment, exhausted and thinking only of sleep. Mrs. Chen was in the hallway, struggling with grocery bags. "Let me help you." I took the heavier bags, following her to her door. "You're a good girl, Claire. Too good for this city. You need someone to take care of you." "I take care of myself just fine." "Mrs. Chen." Maybe. Or maybe someone already taking care of you, and you just don't notice." She patted my hand cryptically before disappearing into her apartment. Inside my own apartment, I showered, ate cereal for dinner that was actually breakfast, and collapsed into bed. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "Sleep well." "You're safe." I stared at it, my heart racing. Wrong number? Prank? I deleted it and tried to forget about it. But 3 nights later, after another exhausting shift, there was another text from a different unknown number. "The man who followed you home last week won't bother you again." This time, I didn't delete it. I screenshot it, showed Rachel the next day. "That's creepy as hell," she said immediately. "Claire, you need to report this." "Report what?" "Someone telling me I'm safe? There's nothing threatening here. Someone is watching you closely enough to know when men follow you home. That's the threat." She grabbed my phone, studying the messages. Both burner numbers. Both sent late at night. "Claire, this is stalker behavior. Or protector behavior. There's a thin line between the two. Please be careful. Change your routine. Tell your building super. Maybe stay with me for a few days." I promised I would consider it, but I didn't really think I was in danger. The texts, while odd, didn't feel threatening. They felt protective. Like someone was watching over me, not watching me. Still, I started paying more attention, noticing things I'd previously overlooked, like the man across the street who always seemed to be there when I left for work. Different men, actually, rotating, but always someone. Always watching. Or the way problems in my life resolved themselves with suspicious efficiency. The landlord who'd been threatening eviction suddenly became accommodating. The insurance company that denied my claim mysteriously reversed their decision. Small things, but mounting up. Someone was interfering in my life. The question was why? A week later, I was leaving the hospital after another night shift when I noticed him. Tall, dark-haired, expensive coat, standing by a black car across the street. Just standing there, watching the hospital entrance, watching me. When our eyes met, he didn't look away. Didn't pretend to be doing something else. Just watched me with an intensity that should have been frightening, but somehow wasn't. I crossed the street, ignoring Rachel's advice about avoiding confrontation, and walked directly toward him. "Can I help you?" Up close, he was even more striking. Sharp features, dark eyes, a small scar above his left eyebrow. and tattoos, intricate ink visible on his hands and disappearing up under his sleeves. He looked expensive and dangerous in equal measure. I'm making sure you get home safely. I don't need a babysitter. Clearly you do, since you just crossed the street to confront a strange man you suspected of following you. Not exactly cautious behavior, Claire. How do you know my name? I know a lot about you. Your work schedule, your route home, your preference for the corner bodega over the closer convenience store. I know you usually work 3 12-hour shifts a week, that you're saving for a better apartment, and that you have terrible taste in coffee, but excellent instincts about people. He spoke calmly, like this was a normal conversation. I'm Luca, and I've been protecting you for 2 years. My heart hammered. You're the one sending the texts, among other things. The ex-boyfriend who was harassing you? I convinced him moving to another state was in his best interest. The patient who grabbed you? I ensured he found a different hospital. The man who followed you home last month? He won't be following anyone anymore. What does that mean? Won't be following anyone? It means he's alive but relocated, with strong motivation to stay far away from you. Luca's expression didn't change. I don't kill unnecessarily, Claire. I just remove threats, efficiently. I should run, should scream, should do anything except stand here having a calm conversation with a man who'd just admitted to stalking me for 2 years. Why? Why would you do this? Because 2 years ago I saw you at the hospital. My nephew was brought in after an accident, and you were his nurse. You stayed with him, talked to him, kept him calm while we waited for surgery. You didn't know who he was, didn't know his family, you just cared. Like he mattered. And I thought, here's someone good, someone rare, someone who should be protected. So you've been stalking me for 2 years because I was nice to your nephew? I've been protecting you because you're the kind of person who makes the world better just by existing. And people like you need someone watching their back in a city like this. He straightened from the car. I'm not asking for anything, Claire. I'm just telling you the truth because you've started noticing. And I'd rather you know I'm here than spend energy being paranoid about unknown threats. This is insane. You're insane, possibly, but you're safe. You've been safe for 2 years because I've made sure of it. And you'll continue to be safe because I'm not stopping. He opened the car door. Vincent will drive you home. He's been your usual tale. You've probably seen him around your neighborhood. A second man appeared from the driver's side. Shorter, stocky, with kind eyes that didn't match his intimidating build. Vincent. Meet Claire. Claire, Vincent. He's been making sure no one bothers you on your walks home. Consider him your new official escort. I don't want an escort. I want you to stop following me. I can't do that. But I can be more visible about it, so you feel safer knowing who's watching. Luca met my eyes directly. Go home, Claire. Sleep. Think about this. And when you're ready to discuss it rationally, you know where to find me. I don't know where to find you. Yes, you do. I'm wherever you are. I'll be outside your building tonight. I'll be at the hospital tomorrow when you work. I'll be everywhere you go because that's how I keep you safe. He gestured to Vincent. Please get in the car. You're exhausted, and I don't trust you to stay alert on the subway right now. I should refuse. Should walk away. Should call the police and report this completely unhinged stalker. Instead, I got in the car. Vincent drove in silence while I processed everything. Luca had been watching me for 2 years. Eliminating threats, keeping me safe without me knowing. It was the creepiest thing I'd ever heard. It was also, I realized with disturbing clarity, the reason I'd felt so unusually safe lately, the reason my luck had been so good. Because someone had been manipulating events, removing dangers, protecting me from the shadows. He's not a bad man, Vincent said quietly as we pulled up to my building. What he does, the protecting, it's genuine. He doesn't do this for other people. Just you. That doesn't make it less creepy. No. But it makes it real. He cares about you, Miss Bennett, in his own complicated way. I went upstairs, locked every lock, and stood at my window. Sure enough, there was Luca's car across the street. Just sitting there, watching, my phone buzzed. New text from an unknown number. I know this is overwhelming. Take your time processing. But Claire, you're not in danger from me. You're protected by me. There's a difference. I should block the number. Should call the police. Should do something other than stand here staring at that car and feeling strangely, impossibly safe. Instead, I texted back, "How long are you planning to do this?" His response was immediate. as long as you need protection, which, given the world we live in, is probably forever. That's insane. That's commitment. There's a difference. I turned away from the window and tried to sleep, but every time I closed my eyes, I saw Luca's face. The intensity in his expression, the absolute certainty when he'd said, "I've been protecting you." No one had ever protected me before. I'd always been the protector, the nurse, the caretaker, the one who helped others. Having someone reverse that role was disorienting and terrifying, and maybe, just a little bit, exactly what I needed. For 3 days, I tried to pretend everything was normal. I went to work, came home, lived my life, but I was hyper-aware now, noticing Vincent across the street when I left my building, seeing Luca's car at the hospital parking lot when my shift ended, understanding that my luck had been orchestrated protection. "You're distracted," Rachel observed during a lull in the ER. "And you keep looking out the window. What's going on? Remember when you said I might have a guardian angel? You were right, except he's less angel and more stalker with good intentions." I told her everything, about Luca, the 2 years of protection, the eliminated threats. She listened with growing alarm. "Claire, this is textbook stalker behavior. Obsessive surveillance, eliminating perceived threats, controlling your environment. But he hasn't actually controlled me. He's just removed dangers I didn't know existed. That you didn't know existed because he decided they were dangers. Claire, he's making unilateral decisions about your safety without your input. That's controlling. I know. I know it's wrong and creepy and I should report him. But Rachel..." I stopped, trying to articulate the confusing truth. "I feel safer than I have in years, knowing someone's watching out for me. Even if the method is insane, it's comforting somehow. That's Stockholm Syndrome talking. Maybe. Or maybe it's just exhaustion. I'm tired of being alone. Tired of handling everything myself. Tired of being on guard constantly. And suddenly someone appears saying, 'I've got you, you can relax.' And yes, he's doing it in the most unhinged way possible. But the core sentiment is exactly what you've been needing." I know. But Claire, needing protection and accepting stalking aren't the same thing. She was right. I knew she was right. But when I left the hospital that night and saw Vincent waiting by his car, I didn't feel threatened. I felt expected, anticipated, cared for. "Miss Bennett, can I drive you home?" "I can take the subway." "You can. But it's late. You're exhausted, and Mr. Moretti would prefer knowing you arrived safely." Vincent's voice was gentle, respectful. "Please, it would ease his mind." "Where is he?" "Luca, I mean. I haven't seen him since..." "He's giving you space, trying not to overwhelm you. But he's still watching, still making sure you're safe. He's just being less visible about it." I got in the car. During the drive, I asked questions. "How long have you worked for him?" 12 years, since I got out of prison. Mr. Moretti gave me a job when no one else would, told me everyone deserves a second chance." "He's a good man, Miss Bennett. Complicated but good. He eliminates people who threaten me." "How is that good?" "He relocates people who threaten you. There's a difference. In 2 years, he's never killed anyone on your behalf. Just encourage them strongly to redirect their attention elsewhere." Vincent glanced at me in the rearview mirror. "The ex-boyfriend who was harassing you?" Mr. Moretti paid for his cross-country move, gave him a job opportunity in Seattle, and explained very clearly that returning to New York would be unwise. "That man is alive, employed, and building a better life, just far away from you. And the patient who grabbed me? Given a referral to a different hospital, a voucher for therapy, and a conversation about appropriate behavior. He's getting help. Away from you. Luca didn't hurt any of them. He scared some of them. Made very clear the consequences of continued harassment. But hurt? No, Mr. Moretti doesn't believe in unnecessary violence. He believes in strategic solutions." We pulled up to my building. "He's not a monster, Miss Bennett. He's just someone who cares about you enough to be proactive about your safety." After Vincent left, I stood at my window looking out at the street. No car tonight. No visible Luca. Just the normal Brooklyn night. I hated how much I missed seeing him there. The next day, I did something probably stupid. I Googled him, Luca Moretti. Multiple results, mostly business-related. Owner of several restaurants and import businesses. Philanthropist, donated to hospitals and youth programs. A few society page photos from charity events. Always alone, always serious, impossibly handsome in a tuxedo. And then, buried deeper, the other articles. Suspected organized crime connections, never charged, never convicted, but his name appeared adjacent to investigations. Federal interest in his import businesses. Whispers about territory management and security services. He wasn't just protective. He was dangerous, connected, powerful enough to make people disappear, even if just to other cities, without consequences. I should be terrified. Instead, I was curious. That evening, I made a decision. Instead of going straight home after my shift, I walked to the address listed for his primary restaurant. Moretti's in a trendy part of Brooklyn I rarely visited. Upscale, beautiful, clearly successful. I walked in, and the hostess greeted me warmly. "Do you have a reservation?" "No, I'm actually looking for Luca Moretti. Is he here?" Her expression shifted, surprise, then assessment. "May I ask who's inquiring?" "Claire Bennett. He knows me." She made a quick phone call, speaking in low Italian. Then, "Please, come with me." She led me through the restaurant. Gorgeous, warm lighting, the smell of garlic and wine, to a private office in the back. She knocked, opened the door, and there was Luca. Behind a desk covered in paperwork, looking every bit the successful businessman except for the gun I could see in the open drawer beside him. "Claire." He stood immediately, surprise and concern crossing his face. "Is something wrong? Are you all right?" "I'm fine. I wanted to talk to you. Without Vincent as intermediary, without text messages, face to face." "Of course." He gestured to a chair across from his desk, then closed the drawer concealing the gun. "Can I get you something? Water, wine, food? The kitchen will make anything you want." "I'm fine. I have questions. Ask anything. I'll answer honestly. Why me? Vincent said you don't do this for other people. So why me specifically? What made you decide I was worth 2 years of surveillance?" He was quiet for a moment, choosing words carefully. 2 years ago, my nephew Marco was in a car accident. Bad one. He was 17, terrified, in pain. I was in the waiting room, completely helpless while he was in surgery. And you weren't even his assigned nurse, but you stayed with him. Held his hand, talked to him, kept him grounded. You treated him like he mattered, like he was your only patient, even though the ER was chaotic that night. I remember. Sweet kid, broken leg and ribs, kept asking if his uncle would be mad about the car. I wasn't mad. I was grateful he survived. And I was struck by you. By how genuinely you cared about a patient you just met. How you prioritized his comfort over efficiency. You stayed 45 minutes past your shift end just to make sure he was settled before leaving. That's my job. That's exceptional. Most people do the minimum. You did more because you're someone who cares deeply and authentically. And I thought, people like this are rare. They deserve protection. So I started watching, making sure you were safe. And the more I watched, the more I saw how little protection you had. You worked nights, walked alone, lived in a building with minimal security. You were vulnerable, Claire, and no one was watching out for you. So I did, for 2 years, without telling me. Would you have accepted my protection if I'd asked? A stranger approaching you saying, "I think you're special, let me hire security for you." You'd have refused, probably gotten a restraining order. So I protected you quietly from a distance, until you started noticing. And then I figured the truth was better than letting you think you had some unknown stalker. You are an unknown stalker. I'm a known stalker now. Completely different. His smile was slight but genuine. Claire, I understand this is overwhelming. I understand it's not normal. But I'm not going to stop protecting you just because you know about it now. I can't. You've become too important. I'm not important. I'm just a nurse who was nice to your nephew. You're someone who makes the world measurably better. Someone who deserves to feel safe, and I have the resources to ensure that safety. Why wouldn't I use them? He leaned forward. I'm not asking for a relationship. I'm not asking for access to your life. I'm just asking you to accept that you're protected, that someone's watching your back. Can you do that? I studied him. This complicated, dangerous man who'd been silently safeguarding me for 2 years. Who'd eliminated threats without violence. Who'd stayed invisible until I noticed. Who looked at me now with something like reverence. What if I asked you to stop? To leave me alone? Let me live my life without surveillance? Then I'd try. I'd probably fail because my protective instincts don't have an off switch. But I'd try to respect your wishes. Your autonomy matters more than my need to keep you safe. He paused. But Claire, I'd ask you to consider, is being watched really such a bad thing if it means you're safer? If it means threats are eliminated before they become dangerous, it's creepy, it's vigilant. There's a difference. You sound like Vincent. Vincent's wise. You should listen to him. Luca stood, moving around the desk. Let me show you something. He led me out of the office, through the kitchen where staff greeted him respectfully, and up a back staircase to what appeared to be an apartment above the restaurant. Comfortable, lived in, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the street. This is where I live. And this, he gestured to a wall of monitors showing various security feeds, is how I keep track of potential threats. I recognize some of the feeds. My building entrance, the hospital parking lot, the bodega I frequented. You have cameras everywhere? I have eyes on places you frequent. So if something seems off, I can respond quickly. He pointed to one screen. 3 weeks ago, this man, a face highlighted, followed you from the subway 2 nights in a row. Third night, Vincent intercepted him, had a conversation. He's now very focused on finding victims elsewhere. You're watching me constantly. I'm watching for threats constantly. You're just part of that surveillance. And yes, I know it's invasive. But Claire, look. He pulled up footage from earlier tonight. Me walking into his restaurant. I didn't know you were coming. The moment you walked in, I saw you on the feed and I panicked. Thought something was wrong. That you were in danger. Because the only reason I could think of for you coming here was a threat I'd missed. That's how I think now. Every moment is about ensuring you're safe. That sounds exhausting. It's necessary. And honestly, it gives me purpose beyond just running operations and managing territories. Protecting you reminds me there's still something good in the world worth fighting for. I turned away from the monitors, looking at him directly. This is the most romantic and most insane thing anyone's ever done for me. I specialize in passionate insanity. He moved closer. Claire, I need to know. Are you going to report me? Get a restraining order? Because I'll respect whatever choice you make. But I need to know what I'm working with. I should report you. This is illegal surveillance. Stalking. Probably a dozen other crimes. Probably. But I stopped, trying to articulate the confusing truth. I feel safer knowing you're watching. Safer than I've felt in years. And yes, it's unhinged and wrong and completely inappropriate. But Luca, I work nights in an ER in a city that doesn't always care about women alone. Having someone watching my back, even if that someone is admittedly creepy about it, it's exactly what you needed but couldn't ask for. Yes, exactly that. I met his eyes. So no, I'm not reporting you. But I have conditions. Name them. First, no more hiding. If you're watching, I want to know. No more pretending it's coincidence or luck. Just honesty. Done. What else? Second, I want to know about threats before you eliminate them. Give me the information. Let me decide if I think they're dangerous. Partnership, not just protection. That's harder. My instinct is to handle threats before they reach you. But I can try to consult you first when time allows. And third, I moved closer to him. Stop watching me like I'm fragile. I work in an ER. I've seen things that would break most people. I'm tougher than you think. Protect me, fine. But don't coddle me. You are tough. I've watched you handle emergencies, comfort dying patients, deal with aggressive drunks without flinching. I know you're strong, Claire. That's part of why you're worth protecting. You're strong but compassionate. Tough but kind. That combination is rare. Then treat me like an equal in this strange arrangement. Not like something breakable you need to shield. I can do that. Probably imperfectly, but I'll try. He extended his hand. Partners? You accept my protection. I accept your autonomy. We figure out the middle ground together. I took his hand, and the moment our palms met, something shifted. This wasn't just an agreement about surveillance. This was something more. Something neither of us was ready to name yet. Partners, I agreed. But Luca, if this gets weirder than it already is, I reserve the right to change my mind. Fair enough. And Claire? Thank you. For what? For not running. For trying to understand. For being brave enough to walk into my restaurant and demand answers. Most people would have just called the police. I'm not most people. I know. That's why you're worth protecting. The partnership was strange but functional. Over the next 2 weeks, I adjusted to my new reality. Luca would text when he noticed potential concerns. A man lingering near my building. Someone asking questions about my schedule at the hospital. Nothing urgent, just information sharing. And I'd respond with my assessment, my comfort level, my preferences for how to handle it. It felt less like surveillance and more like having a very attentive, slightly overprotective partner, which was weird, since we weren't actually partners in any romantic sense. Just two people with an unconventional arrangement about safety. "You're smiling at your phone again," Rachel observed during our lunch break. "That's new. Are you texting the stalker?" "He's not a stalker. We have an understanding now. He tells me about potential threats. I tell him if I'm actually worried. It's working. That's the definition of Stockholm Syndrome. Or maybe it's just practical. I work nights in Brooklyn, Rachel. Having someone watching my back isn't the worst thing. Until it is. Until he decides some guy talking to you is a threat and eliminates him. Claire, you're normalizing obsessive behavior. He hasn't done anything concerning in 2 weeks. He's been respectful, communicative, exactly what we agreed to. But that night, coming home from my shift, I realized Rachel had a point. There was a man on my stoop. Not threatening, just sitting there at 2 a.m. looking lost. He stood when he saw me approaching. "Claire? Claire Bennett?" I stopped several feet away, suddenly very aware that Vincent was in a car across the street. "Do I know you?" "I'm Eric. We dated briefly 5 years ago. I don't know if you remember." "I remember. You moved to Boston for a job. What are you doing here?" "I'm back in New York. I've been thinking about you, wanted to reconnect, see if maybe we could try again." He moved closer, and I saw Vincent get out of his car. "I know this is random, showing up like this, but I couldn't find your number and I remembered where you lived and... Eric, you can't just show up at someone's apartment at 2 a.m. That's not appropriate." I know. But I've been thinking about you for years, regretting how I left things. I just wanted to see you, talk to you." Vincent reached us, positioning himself between Eric and me. "The lady asked you to leave. Time to go. Who the hell are you? Her bodyguard?" Eric tried to look around Vincent. "Claire, can we talk? Without this guy?" Before I could respond, another car pulled up. Luca got out, and his expression was cold in a way I'd never seen. "Mr. Thompson." Eric Thompson, formerly of Boston, now residing at 247 West 23rd Street. Apartment 4C. You've been in New York for 3 weeks, and in that time you've researched Claire's address, her work schedule, and her daily routine. That's not reconnecting. That's stalking. Eric paled. "I just wanted to talk to her." "How do you know? Who are you?" "I'm someone who takes Claire's safety very seriously, and you showing up at her home at 2 a.m. after weeks of surveillance suggests you're a threat." Luca's voice was calm, but absolutely dangerous. "So here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave. Now. And you're going to forget Claire exists. Because if you contact her again, show up here again, or even think about her too hard, I'll make sure you regret it. Understood? You can't threaten me. I'll call the police. Please do. Explain to them why you're at a woman's apartment at 2 a.m. after tracking her movements for 3 weeks. See how that goes." Luca moved closer, and Eric actually stepped back. "Leave. Now." Eric looked at me, then at Luca and Vincent, and apparently decided discretion was smarter than argument. He left, practically running down the street. "Are you all right?" Luca turned to me, his expression softening immediately. "I'm fine." "But Luca, that was excessive. Eric's harmless. We dated years ago. He just wanted to talk. He's been watching you for 3 weeks, Claire. Learning your patterns, figuring out when you'd be vulnerable. That's not harmless. That's predatory behavior disguised as romantic interest." "How do you know he's been watching for 3 weeks?" "Because I've been watching him watch you. I flagged him as a potential threat the first time he lingered outside your building. Then I researched him. Found he'd moved back to New York specifically after finding you on social media. He's been building up courage to approach you, and he chose 2 a.m. because he thought you'd be tired and off guard." Luca's jaw was tight. "That's not coincidence. That's strategy. Predatory strategy." I felt cold. "You really think he was dangerous?" "I think he was testing boundaries, seeing if you'd accept inappropriate behavior. And if you had, if you'd agreed to talk to him, invited him in, it would have escalated. Men who show up uninvited at 2 a.m. aren't looking for conversation, Claire. They're looking for vulnerability to exploit." Vincent nodded. "Mr. Moretti's right, Miss Bennett. I've seen that pattern before. Man researches a woman, learns her routine, approaches when she's tired and alone. It's textbook predatory behavior. I feel sick. You're safe. That's what matters. Luca guided me toward my building entrance, and Eric Thompson won't bother you again. I'll make sure of it. Luca, you can't threaten everyone who talks to me. I can threaten everyone who stalks you for 3 weeks and then ambushes you at 2 a.m. That's not talking, Claire. That's hunting. We reached my door and he stopped. I know you want to see the best in people. It's one of your best qualities, but sometimes people don't deserve that benefit of the doubt. Sometimes they're actually dangerous, and my job is to recognize the difference before you get hurt. After he left, I stood in my apartment trying to process. Had Eric really been stalking me? Or was Luca's protective paranoia seeing threats that weren't there? I pulled out my phone and searched Eric's social media. Sure enough, posts about moving back to New York, photos near my neighborhood, a check-in at the bodega I frequented. All in the past 3 weeks, Luca had been right. Eric hadn't just randomly decided to visit. He'd been planning this, researching me, building up to tonight's ambush. I texted Luca, "Thank you. I'm sorry I doubted you about Eric." His response came immediately. "Never apologize for wanting to believe the best about people. Just let me handle the paranoia about worst-case scenarios. That's what I'm here for. What will you do about him? Have a conversation. Make sure he understands boundaries. Nothing violent, just educational. He'll leave you alone. I promise, and if he doesn't, then I'll be more persuasive. But Claire, you won't have to worry about it. This is my job. Let me do it." 2 days later, I got a text from Eric's number. "I'm sorry about the other night. It was inappropriate and creepy. I'm moving back to Boston. Good luck with everything." Eric, he apologized. I told Luca when he called to check in. "And he's leaving New York. What did you say to him?" I explained that his behavior was unacceptable. Showed him evidence of his surveillance pattern. Made it clear that continuing to pursue you would have serious consequences. He chose the smart option. Apologize and leave. "You didn't hurt him?" "I didn't touch him. Just talked." Very clearly, there was a pause. "Claire, I need you to understand something. I don't enjoy scaring people. I don't get satisfaction from threatening men who bother you. But I do enjoy knowing you're safe, that you can go to work without worrying someone's tracking your movements. That's what matters to me. Your safety, your peace of mind. It matters to me too. And Luca, I'm starting to understand why you do this. The protection. It's not about control. It's about caring. It's absolutely about caring. I care that you exist in the world safely, that your kindness doesn't make you vulnerable, that the people who might exploit your compassion are stopped before they get the chance. That's actually beautiful, in a slightly terrifying way. I specialize in terrifying beauty. It's my brand." I laughed, and I could hear his smile through the phone. We'd shifted from wary partnership to something more comfortable. Almost friendship, though, with an undercurrent of something neither of us was ready to acknowledge. "I'm working tonight," I said. "Are you going to be at the hospital?" "Vincent will be there. I have business to handle. But Claire, if anything feels wrong, if you're uncomfortable for any reason, call me. Not Vincent, not 911, me. I'll come immediately." "You'd drop everything? For you?" "Without question. You're the priority, Claire. Always." After we hung up, I sat with those words. You're the priority. Always. No one had ever made me a priority before. I'd always been the caretaker, the helper, the person who prioritized others. Having someone reverse that dynamic was disorienting, and increasingly, undeniably exactly what I wanted. That night at the hospital was chaos. Multiple trauma cases, understaffed, everyone stretched thin. I was in the middle of treating a car accident victim when I heard shouting from the waiting room. A man, drunk and aggressive, demanding to see a specific nurse. Rachel. He'd been dating her. She'd ended things, and now he was here causing a scene. Security was tied up with another situation. The drunk man was getting louder, pushing past the reception desk, heading toward the treatment area. I stepped into his path. "Sir, you need to leave. This is a hospital, and you're disrupting patient care. Get out of my way. I'm here to see Rachel." "Rachel doesn't want to see you. You need to leave before security removes you." I said move. He shoved me and I stumbled back into a medication cart. Pain shot through my hip where I'd hit the metal edge. Before I could recover, the man was on the ground. Vincent had appeared from nowhere, restraining him with practiced efficiency while hospital security finally arrived. "Are you hurt, Miss Bennett?" Vincent's voice was calm despite having just tackled someone. I'm fine. Just bruised. How are you here? You're supposed to be outside. Mr. Moretti had concerns about this individual. Asked me to stay close to the ER entrance tonight, just in case. Good thing I did. Security took the drunk man away. Rachel apologized profusely for her ex causing problems, and I tried to process that Luca had somehow known there might be an issue tonight. I texted him, "How did you know about Rachel's ex?" Saw police reports about domestic disturbance at Rachel's address. Checked the individual's social media. Lots of angry posts about the hospital. Figured he might show up tonight. Made sure Vincent was positioned to intervene if needed. You're monitoring police reports now? I'm monitoring anything that might affect your workplace safety. Is that too much? I thought about it. About the bruise forming on my hip. About how much worse it could have been if Vincent hadn't intervened. About Rachel's terrified face when her ex had started shouting. It's not too much. It's exactly right. Thank you for keeping me safe. Again, always. Claire. Always. That night, lying in bed with ice on my bruised hip, I admitted something to myself I'd been avoiding for 2 weeks. I was falling for Luca Moretti. The man who watched over me, who saw threats before I did, who protected me without asking for anything in return. It was insane. He was a criminal who'd been stalking me. I should be terrified, should be planning my escape. Instead, I was planning how to see him again. How to turn this strange protection arrangement into something more. How to be brave enough to admit that his obsessive vigilance made me feel more cared for than any normal relationship ever. Had dangerous. Definitely dangerous. But maybe the best. Kind. The day after the hospital incident, Luca showed up at my apartment with groceries and a first aid kit. You said you were just bruised. Let me see. Luca, I'm a nurse. I can handle a bruise. Humor me. I need to see that you're actually okay. His expression was concerned, almost vulnerable. Please, Claire. I let him in, showed him the bruise on my hip, impressive purple and blue. He winced. That should have been me. I should have been there, not just Vincent. Vincent handled it perfectly. And you can't be everywhere, Luca. Even you have limits. Not when it comes to you. He opened the first aid kit, pulling out arnica cream. May I? I nodded, and he gently applied cream to the bruise, his touch careful and warm. This close, I could see details I'd missed before. The small scar above his eyebrow, the way his tattoos continued up under his sleeves, the concentration in his expression as he tended to me. You're good at this, the caretaking thing. I've had practice. Marco, my nephew, he needed a lot of care after his mother died. I learned how to be gentle when necessary. He finished with the cream, then looked up at me. How's the pain? Manageable. But Luca, you didn't have to come here. A text checking in would have been enough. No, it wouldn't. I needed to see you, make sure you were okay. Needed to... He stopped, seeming to reconsider his words. I care about you, Claire. More than is probably appropriate given our arrangement, but I can't help it. Seeing you hurt, even minimally, it affects me. I care about you too, more than I should given you stalked me for 2 years. Stalked is such an ugly word. I prefer vigilantly observed. That's the same thing. Sounds better, though. He stood, putting the first aid kit away. I brought groceries. You haven't been eating properly. I noticed you skipping meals, living on hospital cafeteria food, so I brought ingredients for actual meals. You monitor my eating habits now? I monitor everything about you. We established this. But Claire, you can't take care of others if you don't take care of yourself. Let me cook for you, please. So he cooked. In my tiny kitchen, he made pasta from scratch. Actually from scratch. Flour and eggs and patience. While telling me about growing up in Italy, his mother's kitchen. How cooking was meditation for him. You're full of surprises, I said, watching him work. Dangerous mafia boss who makes fresh pasta. I'm not that dangerous. Mostly, I handle logistics and territory agreements. The dangerous parts are delegated to people better suited for violence. He tested the pasta, deemed it ready. I prefer creating things. Food, solutions, safety, that's my skill set. We ate together, and it felt domestic in a way that should be concerning but wasn't. This man who'd been watching me for 2 years was cooking in my kitchen, and it felt natural. Right, like something I'd been missing without knowing it. Tell me about Marco, I said over wine. Your nephew. How is he now? Good. Healed completely. Studying engineering at NYU. Smart kid, kind heart. He asks about you sometimes, the nice nurse who held his hand. He'd like to thank you properly, if you'd be comfortable meeting him. I'd like that. Does he know about— I gestured between us. This arrangement? He knows I've been keeping an eye on you. Doesn't know the full extent of the surveillance, but he understands I'm protective of people who matter. He approves, actually. Says anyone who made that much impression on me must be special. Am I special? Or am I just a project? Claire, you were never a project. You are someone who deserved better than what life was giving you. Someone who needed protection and didn't have it. I saw that and I couldn't not help. That's not a project. That's responding to someone exceptional with the care they deserve. That's the most romantic thing anyone's ever said while admitting to stalking. I have other romantic things to say. If you're ready to hear them, try me. He set down his wine, meeting my eyes directly. I think about you constantly. Wonder if you're safe, if you're happy, if you need anything. I plan my days around your schedule, not just for protection, but because knowing I'll see you, even from a distance, makes everything better. You've become the center of my world, Claire. And I know that's intense and probably unhealthy, but it's true. You matter more than anything else. More than business, more than territories, more than my own safety. You're the priority, always. My heart was racing. Luca, you don't have to say anything. I'm not asking for reciprocation. I'm just being honest, like we agreed. You wanted transparency. This is me being completely transparent. I'm in love with you. Have been for months, probably longer. And that's why I protect you. Not out of obligation or strategy, but because the thought of you being hurt is unbearable. You love me. Completely. Probably obsessively. Definitely inappropriately given how we met. But yes, I love you. I stood, moving around the table to where he sat. That's good, because I think I'm falling in love with you too, which is insane, given you've been stalking me. But Luca, you make me feel safer than anyone ever has. You care about my well-being without wanting to control me. You protect without smothering. That's what I've needed my whole life without knowing it. Claire. And yes, it started in the most unhinged way possible. Yes, normal people would run screaming, but I'm not running. I'm standing here telling you that your obsessive protection has somehow become the most caring relationship I've ever had. So what does that say about me? That you're brave enough to see past the method to the motivation. That you understand I'm flawed but trying. That you're giving me a chance I probably don't deserve but desperately want. He stood, facing me. Can I kiss you? I've been thinking about it for months, wondering what it would feel like. If you'd let me. If I'd ever work up the courage to ask. You've eliminated threats, relocated predators, and managed surveillance on me for 2 years. But you're nervous about asking to kiss me because everything else was about protecting you. This is about wanting you. That's different. More vulnerable. What if you say no? What if I've misread everything and you're just tolerating my protection, not actually interested in me? I answered by kissing him first. His surprise lasted half a second before he responded, pulling me closer. His hands careful on my waist like I was something precious. The kiss was gentle at first, testing, then deeper as we both stopped overthinking and just felt. When we broke apart, both breathing hard, he rested his forehead against mine. I've been imagining that for so long. Reality is better, much better. Though, Luca, we should probably talk about what this means, for us, for the arrangement, for everything. It means I'm going to keep protecting you, but now I get to kiss you too. Seems like a significant upgrade from our previous agreement. He smiled, and I realized I'd never seen him fully relaxed before. Claire, I want this, want you. Want to build something real beyond just protection. Can we try that? Yes, but slowly. I'm still adjusting to having a boyfriend who monitors police reports for threats. Boyfriend. I like that word. Official, respectable, less creepy than the man who's been stalking you for 2 years. Significantly less creepy. We'll use boyfriend from now on. Over the next few weeks, we built something that resembled a normal relationship. Dinners at his restaurant, walks through Brooklyn with Vincent discreetly following, movie nights at my apartment or his. He still monitored threats, still kept me safe, but now he also held my hand, kissed me goodnight, texted throughout the day with normal couple things instead of just security updates. You're happy. Rachel observed during a shift. Like genuinely happy. The stalker is good for you? He's my boyfriend now. And yes, he's good for me. Strange, but good. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I approve. After he had Vincent save me from Derek, I'm Team Luca. Anyone who protects my best friend that thoroughly deserves a chance. 3 weeks after our first kiss, Luca arranged for me to meet Marco. Dinner at the restaurant. Casual. Just the three of us. Marco was 20 now. Bright-eyed and enthusiastic, studying engineering like Luca had mentioned. You probably don't remember me, he said, but you stayed with me in the ER, held my hand through the worst pain. I was so scared and you made me feel safe. I've never forgotten that. I remember. You kept asking if your uncle would be mad about the car, worried about his reaction more than your own injuries. Uncle Luca doesn't get mad about things like that. He just cares that people are safe. Marco glanced at his uncle. He's been different since he met you. Lighter. Like he has something beyond just work and responsibility. Thank you for that. I think he's the one making me lighter, carrying worries I didn't know I had. After dinner, Marco pulled me aside. He's in love with you. Completely, obviously in love. And I know how you met was weird, but Claire, he's a good man. The best man I know. He raised me after my mom died. Gave up his 20s to make sure I had stability. He deserves happiness. I think you give him that. He gives me safety. That's equally valuable. Then you're good for each other. Just don't give up on him when you learn more about his work. The protection he gives you, that's the gentle side. There's more and it's not always pretty. But it's all motivated by keeping people safe. Remember that. That night, after Marco left, Luca and I talked in his apartment above the restaurant. Marco warned me about your work, the not pretty parts. He's right too. Claire, I've been showing you the sanitized version. The protection without the consequences. But my work involves threats, violence, territory disputes. I've hurt people when necessary. Scared people routinely. That's the reality of keeping my territory secure, keeping my people safe. And now keeping you safe. It's not always ethical, not always legal, but it's necessary in the world I operate in. Are you trying to scare me away? I'm trying to be completely honest. You deserve to know who you're with. Not just the man who cooks pasta and monitors police reports. The man who makes threats and follows through. The man who's eliminated problems through intimidation and occasionally force. That's part of me too, I know. And Luca, I'm not naive. I work in an ER. I've seen what men are capable of when they want to hurt someone. I've treated victims of violence, abuse, predators. So when you tell me you've hurt people, I believe you. But I also believe you only hurt people who deserve it, who threaten innocent people. That's different. It's still violence. It's protection. There's a difference. And I trust you to know where that line is. I moved closer. I'm not going anywhere. You're stuck with me now. Obsessive protection, questionable ethics, and all. You're certain? Because once you're in my world completely, there's no easy exit. People will know you matter to me. That makes you valuable as leverage. Makes you a target in ways you haven't been before. Then you'll protect me. Like you have been. Like you always do. I kissed him softly. I trust you, Luca. Completely. To keep me safe. To make hard choices. To be both the gentle man who cooks pasta and the dangerous man who eliminates threats. I trust all of you. You're the bravest person I've ever met. Or the most foolish. Haven't decided yet. Both. Definitely both. He pulled me close, and I felt his heartbeat steady and strong. Thank you for staying, for seeing past the surveillance and the threats to the person underneath, for letting me protect you and love you. You've given me something I thought I'd never have. What's that? A reason beyond duty. Something to fight for that's just mine. You're mine, Claire. My person, my priority, my purpose. And I'll keep you safe forever. That's my promise. Forever is a long time. Good thing I'm patient. I've already proven I can commit long-term to protecting you. Now I just get to do it while actually being with you. Seems like an excellent arrangement. I fell asleep that night in his bed, surrounded by security monitors and the steady rhythm of his breathing, feeling safer than I'd ever felt in my life. Strange how the man who'd been secretly watching me had become the person I trusted most in the world. Dangerous. Beautiful. Absolutely right. 3 months into our relationship, I'd gotten used to Luca's world. The constant vigilance, Vincent's presence, the security measures that seemed excessive but weren't. I understood now that his protection wasn't paranoia. It was necessary reality. I'd move most of my things into his apartment above the restaurant. It made sense logistically, and honestly, I felt safer there, surrounded by his security, his people, the monitors that showed potential threats before they materialized. "You're working too much," Luca said one morning as I prepared for another 12-hour shift. 4 shifts this week, Claire. You're exhausted. We're short-staffed. People need care. You need rest. You can't save everyone if you burn yourself out. He pulled me close, concern evident. Take care of yourself, please. For me, if not for you. I'll be fine. Vincent will be there. You'll be monitoring everything. I'm safe, I know. Doesn't stop me from worrying. That shift started normally. The usual chaos of an ER, trauma cases, sick children, elderly patients. I was treating a teenager with a broken arm when Vincent appeared in my peripheral vision, his expression tense. "Miss Bennett, Mr. Moretti needs you to come with me. Now. I'm in the middle of... Now, please. There's a situation. He's insistent." I finished stabilizing the patient, told Rachel I had an emergency, and followed Vincent out. His hand was on his concealed weapon, his entire body alert in a way I'd never seen. What's happening? Rival organization. They've made threats against Mr. Moretti's interests. You're one of those interests. He wants you somewhere secure until this is resolved. We got to the car, and Vincent's phone rang. He answered, listened, his expression darkening. Understood. Changing route now. Vincent, what? The car behind us suddenly accelerated, ramming into our rear bumper. Vincent cursed, swerving, trying to evade. But there were multiple cars now, boxing us in, forcing us to stop. Stay in the car, Vincent commanded. Lock the doors. I'm calling Mr. Moretti. But before he could, men surrounded the car. Armed professional, clearly not random criminals. One gestured for us to get out. Miss Bennett, I'm sorry. We need to go with them. Resisting will get us both killed. Just stay calm, stay quiet. Mr. Moretti will find us. I promise. We were forced into a different car, driven to a warehouse in an industrial area I didn't recognize. The men weren't rough, but they weren't gentle either. Professional kidnappers, which was somehow more terrifying than random violence. Inside the warehouse, I was separated from Vincent and brought to a small office where a man in an expensive suit waited. Miss Bennett. I apologize for the dramatics. My name is Salvatore Russo. I'm a business associate of Mr. Moretti's. Well, competitor would be more accurate. You kidnapped me to compete with him? I took you to get his attention. Mr. Moretti has been expanding his territory into areas I consider mine. I've tried diplomatic approaches. He's refused to negotiate. So I'm using leverage. I'm just his girlfriend. That's not much leverage. You're the woman he's been obsessively protecting for years. The woman he reorganized his entire security apparatus around. Trust me, Miss Bennett, you're significant leverage. And when he arrives to negotiate your release, and he will arrive, probably violently, we'll have a conversation about territory boundaries. He'll kill you for this. He'll try. But I have 40 men here, Miss Bennett. Even someone as formidable as Luca Moretti can't overcome those odds. He'll negotiate. He'll compromise. And you'll go home safely. That's the plan. I wanted to believe him. Wanted to think this was just business. That I'd be released unharmed once they had their conversation. But I'd seen enough in the ER to know that plans involving kidnapping rarely ended well. 2 hours later, the warehouse exploded into chaos. Not literally exploded, but close. Gunfire, shouting, Salvatore's men scrambling, and then Luca was there, in the office, his gun drawn, his expression absolutely murderous. Claire, are you hurt? I'm fine. Luca, there are 40 men here. We're 40 men. Most are incapacitated now. The rest are reconsidering their life choices. He kept his gun trained on Salvatore while moving to me. Vincent? Alive. Injured but stable. Your people have him. Good. Luca's attention shifted to Salvatore. You made a mistake. A fatal one. Touching her was a line you shouldn't have crossed. Moretti, be reasonable. She's fine, unharmed. This was just business. You kidnapped the woman I love. That's not business. That's war. Luca's voice was ice cold. And you just lost. What happened next was fast. Luca's people flooded the warehouse, securing everyone, establishing control. Salvatore was removed. his organization dismantled in what seemed like minutes, but must have been longer. And through it all, Luca stayed with me, his hand on my shoulder, grounding me. I'm getting you out of here. My car is outside. Vincent is already at the hospital being treated. You need to be checked too. I'm fine. Really. They didn't hurt me. They terrified you. That's harm enough. He guided me out of the warehouse, past unconscious or restrained men, into a car where another of his people waited. Take us to the private medical facility, now. During the drive, Luca held me, his entire body tense. I'm sorry. This should never have happened. My security should have been tighter. Should have anticipated Russo making moves. Claire, I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. You can't predict everything. I should have. That's my job. Keeping you safe. And I failed. You were taken, threatened, used as leverage. That's on me. At the medical facility, a private clinic clearly connected to his organization, doctors checked me over. No physical injuries, just shock and adrenaline. They offered sedatives, but I refused. I needed to stay present, process what happened. Luca sat with me the entire time, holding my hand, his expression guilty and devastated. Vincent? I asked. Gunshot to the shoulder. He'll recover fully, already asking about you, feeling guilty he couldn't protect you better. Luca's jaw was tight. Everyone failed you today. Me most of all. No one failed me. I'm safe. I'm here. That's what matters. You were taken, kidnapped, used as leverage against me. Claire, that's exactly what I've been trying to prevent for 2 years. And it happened anyway because I wasn't thorough enough, wasn't protective enough. Luca, stop. You can't prevent everything. You're not God. You're just a man trying to keep me safe in a dangerous world. Today that world caught up to us. But I'm okay. We're okay, are we? Because you just saw what my world really looks like. Violence, kidnapping, men with guns. That's my reality, Claire. And now it's yours too. Are you sure you want this? Want me? I studied him, this man who'd torn apart a warehouse to save me, who looked devastated by my brief captivity, who'd been protecting me for years with every resource he had. I want you. All of you. The protection, the danger, the violence when necessary. I'm not naive anymore, Luca. I know what being with you means, and I'm choosing it anyway. Choosing you. Even after today? Especially after today. You came for me, brought your entire organization to get me back. Luca, I've never had someone fight for me like that. Never had someone care enough to wage war over my safety. That's not something I'm walking away from. You should. You should run far away from me in this life. Find someone normal, someone safe, someone who doesn't come with 40 armed enemies and constant danger. I don't want normal. I want you. Complicated, dangerous, obsessively protective you. I took his face in my hands. I love you. Nothing that happened today changes that. If anything, it proved how much you love me. How far you'll go to keep me safe. That's not something to run from. That's something to fight for. He pulled me close, and I felt him shaking. I was terrified. When Vincent called, said you'd been taken, I felt actual terror. The thought of losing you, of them hurting you to get to me. Claire, I've never been that scared in my life. But you found me. You always find me. That's what you do. That's what I'll always do. No matter what, I'll come for you. I'll fight for you. I'll burn down the world if that's what it takes to keep you safe. I know. That's why I'm staying. That night, back at his apartment, the reality of what happened hit me. The fear I'd suppressed, the understanding of how close I'd come to real danger, the knowledge that being with Luca meant this could happen again. I had a panic attack in his bathroom, crying and shaking, unable to catch my breath. Luca found me, held me through it, talked me through the breathing exercises until I could function again. This is normal, he said gently. Delayed reaction to trauma. Let it out, Claire. Don't suppress it. I was so scared. I pretended I wasn't, acted calm. But Luca, I was terrified. What if you hadn't found me? What if they'd decided I wasn't valuable enough to keep alive? Then I would have burned down every building in this city until I found you. There was never a scenario where I didn't get you back. Never. He rocked me gently. And this won't happen again. Russo's organization is dismantled. His territory absorbed by allies. He's in custody facing federal charges completely unrelated to you. Money laundering, tax evasion. He'll be imprisoned for years. You're safe now. Safer than before because everyone saw what happens when someone touches you. What did happen? In the warehouse before you got to me? My people secured the perimeter, neutralized Russo's men, non-lethally when possible, though some required more. Persuasive methods. No one died, Claire. But yes, there was violence. Necessary violence to get you back. Are you okay with that? I'm okay with you doing whatever it takes to protect people. Including me. Especially me. I wipe my eyes. Is this what it's always going to be like? Threats, danger, constant vigilance? I hope not. I'm working toward complete legitimacy, remember? 5 years, maybe less. But until then, yes, there will be threats. People testing boundaries. Competitors making moves. And you're my biggest vulnerability now. Everyone knows that, so security will be tighter. Precautions more extensive. I need you to be okay with that. I am. Tighter security means staying safe. I can live with that. Even if it means less freedom, more restrictions, Vincent or someone else always present. Even then, Luca, I'd rather be alive with restrictions than free and in danger. I trust you to keep me safe. That trust hasn't changed. He kissed my forehead, my cheeks, my lips. Gentle kisses that felt like reassurance and promise combined. I love you. More than anything. You're my whole world, Claire, and I'll do whatever it takes to keep you in it, safe and happy. I love you too. And Luca, thank you for coming for me, for fighting for me, for proving that I matter enough to wage war over. You'll always matter that much. Always be worth fighting for. That's my promise, from now until forever. You're protected, loved, safe, no matter what it costs me. We stayed like that for hours, holding each other, processing the trauma, rebuilding the sense of safety that had been shattered. And slowly, I felt it returning. The certainty that with Luca, I was protected. That his obsessive vigilance wasn't just talk, but absolute commitment. Dangerous? Yes, but also the safest I'd ever been. Because he loved me enough to tear apart the world to keep me secure. And I loved him enough to let him. 1 year later, woke up to Luca's arm around me and the familiar glow of security monitors in the corner of our bedroom. A year ago, those monitors would have terrified me. Now they were just part of our life, constant vigilance that kept us safe. The kidnapping had changed things. Security was tighter. Vincent plus 2 others now rotated as my protection detail. And Luca had accelerated his timeline for going completely legitimate. 6 months ago, he'd sold off the last of his gray area operations. Now he ran restaurants, real estate investments, and a private security company. All legal, all clean. You're thinking too loud, Luca murmured against my neck. It's 6 a.m. on your day off. Stop thinking. I'm thinking about how different life is now. How normal this feels. Normal? We have 3 security personnel on rotation, monitors showing 6 different angles of the building, and I still check police reports every morning for potential threats. That's not normal. It's our normal, and I love it. Love you. Love this life we've built. He rolled to face me, and I saw the softness in his expression that had taken months to fully emerge. I love you too. More every day, which I didn't think was possible. You've made the past year, despite the trauma, the adjustments, all the complications, the best year of my life. Even with me critiquing your overprotective tendencies? Especially then. You keep me balanced. Remind me there's a line between protection and suffocation. I need that. Need you. We got up, made coffee together in the kitchen, a ritual we'd developed over months of living together. Luca cooked breakfast while I caught up on messages from Rachel, who was planning her wedding and asking my opinion on venues. Rachel wants us to come to her engagement party next week. Vincent and Marco will come as guests. Low-key security, nothing obvious. I want you to enjoy yourself without feeling monitored. Luca plated eggs and toast. Though I'm still monitoring, just subtly, I know, and I appreciate it. The subtle part especially. After breakfast, he said he had errands to run. Vincent will stay with you. I'll be back this afternoon. Need anything? Just you back safely. Always. He kissed me thoroughly. I love you, Claire. Remember that. It was a strange thing to emphasize, but I didn't question it. Luca had his moments of extra sentimentality. Usually when he was feeling particularly protective or grateful, I'd stayed despite everything. That afternoon, Vincent drove me to a park in Brooklyn, one of the few places Luca had deemed safe enough for me to visit semi-regularly. As we walked, Vincent's phone rang. He answered, listened, then handed it to me. Mr. Moretti wants to speak with you. Claire, there's someone at the park entrance. Tall man, dark coat, looking for you. Can you see him? I turned and there was Luca, standing by the entrance exactly as he'd described. I can see you. You're right there. Good. Come meet me. There's something I want to show you. I walked over, confused. You said you had errands. What's going on? I lied. I was preparing something. Come with me? He led me deeper into the park to a secluded spot overlooking the water. And there, set up beautifully, was a picnic. Blankets, food, flowers, candles waiting to be lit. Luca, what is this? This is me being romantic. Trying to, anyway. I'm not great at traditional gestures, but I wanted something special for this. He took both my hands. Claire, 2 years ago I started protecting you without your knowledge. I watched you from afar, eliminated threats you didn't know existed, kept you safe because I thought you deserved it. You were a stranger I'd decided mattered, and over those 2 years of watching, I fell in love with who you were. Your kindness, your strength, your compassion, I remember. You told me all this when you revealed yourself. But what I didn't tell you was this. From the very first day I saw you, I knew you were going to change my life, knew I'd never be the same. I just didn't know how or when or if you'd ever feel the same way. And then, miraculously, you did. You saw past the surveillance and the overprotection to the person underneath. You accepted me, all of me, the dangerous parts included. You stayed when anyone sensible would have run. You loved me back. He dropped to one knee, pulling out a small velvet box, and my heart stopped. Claire Bennett, I've spent years protecting you. I want to spend the rest of my life loving you, officially, permanently, in front of everyone. Will you marry me? I was crying, nodding before I could even speak. Yes, God, yes. Absolutely yes. He slipped the ring on my finger, simple, elegant, exactly my taste, and stood to kiss me. The kiss was deep, full of promise and relief and absolute joy. You said yes, he murmured against my lips. Did you think I'd say no? I was terrified you'd say no, that you'd think it was too fast, too intense, too much. I've been planning this for months, second-guessing everything. You, second-guessing? The man who orchestrated 2 years of surveillance without hesitation. Loving you is more terrifying than any operation I've ever run. The stakes are higher. You're the most important thing in my world, Claire. If you'd said no, I don't know what I would have done. Probably asked again tomorrow. You're persistent like that, absolutely. Would have proposed every day until you said yes. Good thing you saved me the trouble. We sat on the blankets, eating the food he'd prepared, talking about the future, wedding plans, timeline, where we'd live. He wanted something soon, something small. I've waited long enough to make this official. I don't want a long engagement. 3 months, maybe 6 at most. Is that too fast? With you? Nothing is too fast. We met, fell in love, survived kidnapping, and built a life together all in 2 years. 3 months to plan a wedding is practically glacial for us. Good, because I want everyone to know you're mine. Officially. Permanently. No ambiguity. I'm already yours. Have been since you first revealed yourself and I decided to stay. I know, but I want it legal. Want my ring on your finger, want your last name to be Moretti. If you want that. Want the whole world to know I'm the luckiest man alive because you chose me. Moretti. I tested the name. Claire Moretti, I like it. Though professionally I might keep Bennett. Easier for the hospital. Whatever you want. You can be Claire Moretti at home and Claire Bennett at work. I just want you to be mine in every way that matters. 6 months later. The wedding was small, intimate, held at Luca's restaurant with 50 people. Close friends, family, his key people who'd helped protect me over the years. Vincent was best man, Rachel my maid of honor. Marco gave a speech about how love can start in the most unexpected ways and grow into something beautiful. My uncle has been protecting Claire since before she knew he existed, Marco said during the reception. Most people would call that stalking, but I've seen what it really was. A man recognizing someone exceptional and doing everything in his power to keep that light in the world. That's not obsession. That's love at first sight, acted upon with characteristic Moretti intensity. And Claire, you've transformed him. Made him softer without making him weaker. given him something beyond duty to fight for. Thank you for seeing past the surveillance to the heart underneath. During our first dance, Luca held me close and whispered, "Thank you for saying yes, for staying, for loving me despite, or maybe because of, my obsessive protection. Thank you for watching over me, for seeing me when I felt invisible, for protecting me even when I didn't know I needed it. You've given me something I didn't know was possible, feeling truly safe and truly loved at the same time. You'll always have both. That's my wedding vow, beyond what we said at the altar. Safety and love for the rest of our lives. You're protected, cherished, and absolutely mine. And you're absolutely mine too. Protector, husband, love of my life, all mine." 2 years after the wedding life had settled into a rhythm, Luca ran his legitimate businesses. I worked at the hospital with lighter shifts now that we were planning for a family. Vincent had retired from active security to manage Luca's security company. The apartment above the restaurant had become our home, filled with photos and memories and the comfortable clutter of shared life. "You're thinking again," Luca said from his office where he was reviewing contracts. I can hear it from here. I walked in, leaning against his desk. "I'm thinking about how 4 years ago you were secretly watching me. And now we're married, planning for children, living a completely legal life. That's a significant transformation. All thanks to you. You gave me a reason to go legitimate, to build something permanent and clean, something our future children can be proud of." He pulled me into his lap. "Claire Moretti, you've completely transformed my life, made me better, happier, more human. You were always human, just very intense human. Intense is one word for it. Obsessive is more accurate." He kissed my neck. "But my obsession with your safety, your happiness, your well-being, that's never going away. I'll be monitoring threats when we're 90. Hope you're okay with that. I'm more than okay with it. Your protection is what made me feel safe enough to love you in the first place. Why would I want you to stop now? Some people would call it unhealthy. The level of surveillance, the constant vigilance. Some people haven't been protected the way you protect me, haven't felt what it's like to be someone's absolute priority. I'll take your obsessive protection over anyone else's casual attention." My phone rang. Rachel, excited about her new pregnancy. We talked for 20 minutes about baby preparations, doctor recommendations, all the things that came with building a family. After I hung up, Luca was studying me with an expression I'd learned to read over 4 years together. "You want that. The pregnancy, the baby, all of it. I do. Is that okay? Are we ready?" "We're ready. I'm ready. To expand our family, to protect more than just you, to build something that lasts beyond us." He rested his hand on my stomach. "Let's try. Start the next chapter. Create something beautiful together. Something beautiful with excellent security measures. Obviously, I'm already planning the nursery surveillance setup. Child-appropriate, non-invasive, but thorough. Can't have any gaps in protection. You're going to be an incredibly overprotective father. I'm going to be the father who makes sure our children are safe, loved, and know they're the most important things in the world. Just like their mother." He kissed me softly. "Thank you, Claire, for taking a chance on a man who stalked you, for seeing past the surveillance to the love underneath, for building this life with me. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. You're the best thing that ever happened to me, too. My protector, my partner, my love, the man who watched over me before I knew I needed it. The man who taught me that being protected isn't weakness, it's love." Epilogue. 5 years after meeting he found the old security footage by accident. Luca kept it backed up, organized meticulously like everything else in his life. 2 years of surveillance before he revealed himself. Thousands of hours of him watching me, protecting me, falling in love from a distance. I clicked on one file at random. The coffee shop 4 years ago. Me sitting at my usual table, completely absorbed in reviewing photos on my camera, and in the background, barely visible, Luca, watching me with an expression of such intense focus, such careful attention. "You found the archives," Luca said from the doorway. "I should have told you those existed. How long did you watch me before introducing yourself?" "Too long. 2 years of surveillance before I worked up courage to manufacture that first coincidence. 2 years of learning everything about you, eliminating threats, keeping you safe from shadows. I was obsessed, Claire. Completely unhealthily obsessed, You were in love. There's a difference. The line between those two things was very thin, maybe non-existent. He sat beside me watching the old footage. I'm not proud of how this started. The surveillance, the stalking. Because that's what it was, let's be honest. But I can't regret it either, because it led to us, to this life, to everything we've built. I don't regret it either. Yes, it was unorthodox and slightly unhinged, but Luca, you gave me something no one else ever had. Absolute security, the knowledge that someone was watching out for me, keeping me safe, prioritizing my well-being above everything. That's a gift, even if it came wrapped in surveillance footage and eliminated threats. Most people would call it a crime. Most people haven't been loved the way you love me, intensely, protectively, completely. I'll take your obsessive devotion over anyone else's casual interest. On the monitor, past Luca continued watching past me, his expression soft with something like reverence. And I understood. He'd been falling in love the entire time. Every day of surveillance, every threat eliminated, every moment of watching was him choosing me. Protecting me, loving me from a distance until he could do it openly. Thank you, I said quietly, for watching over me, for keeping me safe all that time, for being brave enough to reveal yourself, for loving me enough to spend 2 years protecting someone who didn't even know you existed. I'd do it all again, every day of surveillance, every threat eliminated, every moment of waiting, because it led here, to you as my wife, to our life together, to knowing that you're safe and loved, and mine. That's worth any amount of waiting. Our daughter cried from the nursery, perfect timing, pulling us from reflection to reality. Luca went to get her while I closed the surveillance files, saving them not to dwell on but to remember. To have evidence of how we began, unusual and intense and absolutely right for us. This was love. Not the traditional kind found in meet-cutes and casual dating, but the kind found in obsessive protection, patient devotion, and someone caring enough to watch over you before you even knew you needed it. Dangerous? Maybe perfect? Absolutely. And I wouldn't change a single surveillance-filled moment of how we found each other. Because sometimes the best love stories start with someone watching from the shadows. Someone caring enough to eliminate threats you don't see coming. Someone loving you secretly, protectively, completely, until you're ready to love them back. Luca had been my guardian angel for 2 years before becoming my husband. And he'd spend the rest of our lives continuing both roles, watching over me, protecting me, loving me with that same intense devotion that started with surveillance and evolved into something beautiful. My protector, my partner, my everything, forever.